All right, welcome back to the podcast. Christian and Johnny and this delicious looking pizza right here.
I don't know if you forgot our names.
I almost did.
With who am I?
The pizza just smells so good. It kind of got me like sidetracked. Quick recap: Moses is.
Oh, he was a baby and now he's grown up.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, he killed the guy.
Well, the king of Egypt didn't like how numerous the Israelites were getting, so he tried to kill all the firstborn boys. Moses was born during that time.
Mm-hmm.
He was hidden, saved by the Pharaoh's daughter, raised by his own mother, and
Then given back to Pharaoh.
given back to Pharaoh, and then he killed the Egyptian soldier for being a little too harsh with some of the Israelite people, and then ended up fleeing because Pharaoh tried to kill him for it. This picks up after Moses flees. You already know what pizza this is, right?
Yeah, what kind of pizza is this?
I was going to say, you should taste it and tell me if you can figure it out. But
Oh, yeah, I already know.
so this is a mushroom and Swiss pizza. But it also has some nice French fried onions on it and a little bit of barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it should hit pretty well. Yeah? Good stuff. So Moses fled Egypt because Pharaoh was going to kill him for killing the Egyptian. Now in chapter 3, it says when he was tending the flock of his, was it father-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
Jethro. Yep, without the W. It said he took the flock to the... Why does your Bible say Jethro on it?
Jethro's kind of like an alter ego of mine.
Seriously? You're going to have to explain that.
That I made, back in high school.
Why?
He was my bad side. And then I got a Bible, and then I was like, you know what? Like, let me get a Bible for Jethro. So then now he's becoming good.
What?
My alter ego is becoming good.
Are you schizophrenic? You had your Bible engraved
Yep. Back
with
in high
Jethro.
school.
Yep.
They can see that from that far.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You literally...
Yeah. I got scammed,
Do you know
too.
that-
Because it was like, big old poster like, oh, engraved Bibles, half off, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I want this one. Engrave it. Like, okay, cool. They engrave it. I'm like, oh, it'll be this much money. I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be half off, right? Like, oh, no, it's just these Bibles, not those. I'm like, crap. Like, well, and then I felt guilty. I was like, I guess I gotta buy it. It's just engraved. No one named Jethro's gonna come in here and buy this Bible.
Do you pay by the letter?
That I don't know, but the Bible itself was more than I wanted to pay for a Bible. But it's
a
my
nice
favorite.
looking-
It's my favorite Bible now.
It's a
so
sturdy looking Bible.
It worked out. Yeah, it worked out. It's my Christian Holman Christian Standard Bible, study Bible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you didn't put the W on the end of Jethro either.
I've never seen the W, and I don't know what you're talking
See,
about.
I don't know. I would have just assumed Jethro was Jethrow.
Have you seen that anywhere?
No.
No one has. No. So earlier when you said without the W, no one was like, "Oh, that's strange."
I think it's strange. I think it should have a W at the end. I don't know.
Interesting.
But anyway,
Yeah, I disagree, and my alter ego disagrees too.
so both of you disagree? Did your alter ego like and subscribe our podcast?
No, he doesn't have a YouTube account.
You got to get him one.
He's got a Twitter account.
That doesn't
But no.
help us. Moses takes this flock to the far side of the desert to a place called Horeb, which was known as the Mountain of God. This is the interesting part for me. I'm gonna read it direct so that I'm not paraphrasing. So chapter 3, Exodus chapter 3. So it says Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. So he was a priest.
Mm-hmm.
He led the flock to the far side of the desert, came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Why the bush does not burn up. So
I was looking for a shirt to wear, and I wanted to tie it in. I didn't realize this shirt talks about burning. I was like, oh yeah, I'm talking about the burning bush. Did not pop in my mind.
Got the August burns red.
Yeah, man.
What about the Moses burns bushes?
Well, he doesn't burn bushes.
Moses looks at burned bushes. But here's the weird thing. Like, the bush wasn't on fire for Moses. Moses is just walking by the mountain of God. There's a bush on fire and it's not burning. So he's like, I'm going to go check this out. And then in verse 4, when the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. God was doing his own thing, burning this bush. Moses starts coming over, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know who you are. I don't know what you're doing here. So it wasn't like God went and met Moses wherever he was. It was Moses happened to be walking by, and then out of curiosity from seeing this burning bush, starts going over to it, and then God tells him to pump the brakes because he's standing on holy ground. So Moses really wasn't supposed to be there. I guess since he was...
I don't know about that.
Then since he was, God is like, well, since you're here, you're going to do this now. I mean, that's what it says, right?
Not
There,
necessarily.
the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So he thought...
So if the angel of the Lord appeared to him...
It just means he saw it. It appeared.
It didn't say Moses saw angel of the Lord. It says the angel of the Lord appeared to Moses.
Because the angel of the Lord was doing his thing, and Moses saw it. So it appeared to him.
That's not how it works for me.
It is, because it didn't say the angel of the Lord called Moses over. It didn't say they said Moses' name as soon as he saw it. It said Moses saw this burning bush and thought to himself, I think I'm going to go check that out. And then as he was getting closer to it, God called out from the bush.
But the
and
angel of the
said,
Lord appearing to him, it doesn't sound like it's for him?
No, I think that just means that Moses could visibly see what the angel of the Lord was doing.
Because then I think it would be worded different. I think it would say, and Moses saw, instead of the angel of the Lord appeared to.
Does yours say, like, verbatim, the angel of the Lord appeared?
Yeah, pretty sure.
That's ESV, right?
This is a Holman Christian Standard. But I think ESV is probably the same. Yeah, then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire within a bush.
Yeah, that's what mine says.
Yeah.
But I don't think that means, like, it was specifically for Moses. Unless they knew beforehand that Moses was like a moth attracted to flames.
I would say if he's all knowing, then he knows.
Because they would be like, how do we get Moses over here? And, oh, light a fire. He'll come look.
She smells like pizza.
Is that what she said?
She says funny things.
Baby,
What?
what are you doing?
When I woke up, I saw that pizza and I walked out of my room and I smelled your pizza.
So you're like Moses. You see something you like and you're curious about.
I want to love that pizza.
If you come down here right now, I'll give you one bite.
Dude, that was like instant.
Yeah, she's gonna fall down the stairs running.
Hey.
What do you think? On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate this pizza? 10 being the best you've ever had, 1 being the worst you've ever had.
I don't know.
You gotta get, how good is it?
Really good.
Really good? So how high of a number on a scale from 1 to 10?
Maybe 10.
Maybe a 10. Wow.
Not more.
All right, you get one more bite and you gotta get back to bed. Savage.
Are you gonna go brush your teeth again?
Nah, she's
Or are you just going to bed with pizza mouth?
Hey, I love you. We're talking about Moses.
I hope I didn't mess up your thing.
Oh yeah, you 100% broke my mic, but you know. Because it was really important to turn it too. She could smell it from her room all the way upstairs.
Yeah, she's funny.
So, see what you're missing? I make good pizzas. Most of the time. Earlier today, she told me out of the blue, Dad, what if I was allergic to humans? And I was like, you'd have a pretty lonely life, baby. That would not be fun. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine being allergic to humans?
Like, are you born immediately, like, sneezing and
they
shock
gotta
and EpiPen?
Put you in the bubble? Yeah.
What would an EpiPen do to a baby?
Probably jack it up.
Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it, like, powerful
it's,
stuff?
It's pure adrenaline, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Babies don't need adrenaline.
Yeah.
They don't. Not even toddlers. But yeah, she's funny. She does say some funny stuff. She's the best. I interpret it as Moses is just bringing the sheep across the desert to the far end. He happens to be near the mountain of God, or at the mountain of God. Mm-hmm. God's doing holy things, minding his own business. Moses, in verse 3, Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't called. They didn't shout his name, and he wasn't directed. God didn't tell him, go here. He was doing his thing with the sheep, just walking along.
God didn't, like, subtly do something and help Moses look or help call Moses over?
Doesn't say. But it does say that Moses was minding his own business, saw a bush that wasn't burning up, but it was on fire, and said, I think I'm going to go check out this site.
It also says the angel of the Lord appeared to.
Yes.
So,
but that just means he could see it. And then, how do you explain when Moses gets closer to it, God's like, whoa, Moses, you're on holy ground. Mm-hmm. Like,
that was after he called him, yeah?
What? He didn't call him. Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up.
Okay.
When
God
the Lord
called out to him from the bush, Moses, here I am, he answered, do not come closer. He said, remove the sandals from your feet.
Yeah, when the Lord saw that he had gone over to look. So God's watching Moses, like, out of curiosity, go someplace he wasn't.
So then he calls him, and then he tells him to take his shoes off.
But Moses over here, God's doing his own thing, and then he's like, oh, darn, Moses is coming over. I need to tell him to stop.
Why would Moses say, here I am?
Because God called him. If a voice came out of a burning bush and called your name.
So he's calling him over, or he's not calling him over?
He's already over. The bush is here. Moses is walking to it. He starts getting close. God calls his name to tell him to stop. It is an interesting response, though. Because if you saw a bush that was on fire that wasn't burning, and you went towards it, and a voice came out of it that said,
I would touch it.
Johnny, would you go, here I am? Like he's taking attendance in homeroom.
I'd be like, yes? And then I would be trying to touch it, with my shoes probably still on.
And you would be dead, and this story would be very different. But why here I am? Like,
Because God was calling him closer.
Oh, here I am just seems so nonchalant. Mm-hmm. God tells him not to come any closer. He said, take off your sandals, for the place where you're standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Mm-hmm. So Moses didn't even know what he was getting into. Mm-hmm. He saw the bush burn and walked over and was like, whoa. I think Moses got voluntold because he was wrong place, wrong time.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
If you believe in, like, preordained stuff, then
you could say everything is preordained, though. That's just an easy cop-out for being able to conceive everything that's going on. And it's probably true, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, everything does happen for a purpose, but the way that it's worded, Moses was...
I don't think everything happens for a purpose.
Example?
Just anything free will. You do anything outside of God's will, you doing that doesn't have a purpose. But he can use it and make purpose, change things. But doing that, that action doesn't have a purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I think Moses, he just happened...
It wasn't God's will. And
to make the choice to walk all the way across the desert with sheep. Was there a shortage of...
I don't know. I think Moses was chosen and picked out. He just happened to end up with Jethro, a priest.
he just happened to take a flock of sheep across the far side of the desert?
Yeah. I think
The desert,
I think
bro.
he's chosen.
What food are you going to find in the desert for a flock of sheep?
There's,
Why was he even in the desert?
I think the deserts are probably a little bit different than we think. I'm not entirely sure.
The desert is a desert. No matter how you slice it, there's not food for a flock of sheep in a desert.
I don't know why he's anywhere.
That's why I said he led the flock to the far side of the desert. So since he was there, the Lord told him he heard the cries of the people of Israel and he's going to save them and deliver them from the Egyptians. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So verse 10, so now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. So I think Moses just happened to be there. And God's like, you know what? Since you're here, you wanted to walk over and check out the bush.
And he just happened to have a cool story of being a baby that wasn't killed, and a little bit of Hebrew, a little bit of Egyptian. So he's got a little bit of.
It is a little too perfect. I see your point. I see it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand how Moses like accidentally ends up at this bush though. This one's good. What is this?
Apricot.
Strawberry apricot?
Yeah.
You don't say apricot?
I probably say both. Did I say apricot?
You said apricot.
I tend to. There's a lot of words I tend to say mixtures, like pecan and pecan. Sometimes I sit there and I have both words and I'm like, pick one. I have like a mini panic attack almost in my brain.
At the end of the day, no one cares.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it all tastes the same. God tells Moses he's sending him to go to Pharaoh, bring the Israelites out of Egypt. And then Moses says, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Definitely felt unqualified for the role.
Yeah.
Which
Because he is.
most of the time, anytime God uses somebody, they usually are. Otherwise,
Because it's not about us.
there would be no point in needing God. If we could do it
Because
ourselves.
it's about him and not us.
Yeah.
That's actually like one of my last notes. But all right.
Hey, hit the revelation early,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And this is interesting. Well, not even interesting. I think entertaining. Because Moses,
I think it's all interesting.
it is. So Moses questions, like, who am I that I should go and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? God says, I'll be with you. This will be the sign to you that it's I who sent you. When you brought the people out of Egypt, you'll worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me, and they ask me what his name is. He says, I am. God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. That's like
Yes.
you can't even argue with that. That's just like, I am.
Yeah.
But let me ask you,
I'll let you. You can
thank
ask.
you. If Moses had kept walking and didn't get curious about the burning bush, because you said, it is too perfect, right? He's like he's Israelite, but he was raised Egyptian. If he had kept walking and he didn't walk over to the burning bush out of curiosity, do you think God would have still used him? Or would he just have used somebody else or just had a different plan altogether?
I don't have an answer. I don't know. I think very well could have tried again. Kept pursuing.
What, another burning bush down the road?
Yeah. I was like, man, I've seen a lot of those bushes around here. Wow. I think that's very possible. You could also could just be like, all right, let me just go to the next guy.
How many burning bushes do you think it would have taken to get his attention?
I think it only took one.
If it wasn't the first one. If Moses walked by and then there was another one down the road, and God just kept putting burning bushes until he finally came over.
I don't know how to answer that. Because you could say, like, oh, 2. That's enough. But, like...
I don't think 2. I think if he didn't stop at the
if
first one...
one is enough, then 2's enough.
Not necessarily. If he passed by it, then 1 wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. But
I don't
knowing
think-
that
I don't
1
think
was
2.
enough, it's hard to...
You got to take yourself out of the no.
But why wouldn't 2 be enough?
It just doesn't feel right.
if it's possible for anyone to have one be enough, why wouldn't two be enough? You know,
I think it would probably be 3 or 4.
Yeah, I would definitely say 3 or 4 for sure. You're like, all right, that's just 3 of
The
them.
second one, like if you passed up the first one, you just weren't even curious. You're just like, whatever.
Second one's like, oh
And you go
wow,
to the second
I'll
one-
remember that. Let me keep
Just
going.
one of those, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you would pass it because it's not enough to really catch the interest.
I'm
that
gonna
the
have
first
to
one
tell
didn't
Zipporah. Is that her name? I gotta tell Zipporah. I saw 2 of these today.
do. Yeah.
Wow. You
But
just
then the
keep on
third
going.
one, you'd probably be like, man, something's weird here. And then the fourth one, I'd probably go take a look. So I'd probably say like 4. 4 burning bushes for me.
Sure.
God tells Moses what to say to the Israelites, and then he tells him, go assemble the elders of Israel and basically tell them the Lord, the God of your fathers, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I've watched over you and seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, and all the ites. A land flowing with milk and honey. So does that mean cows and bees? Because that doesn't sound like... I don't want anything to do with bees.
I like bees.
I don't like bees.
We have this big bush Amory wanted to trim, and I didn't want to trim it at all. And she's like, oh, but it just gets so annoying, so many bees. I'm like, oh, I definitely don't want to trim it now.
Turn it into the burning bush. That's what I would do.
I trimmed it a little bit. Not enough for her liking, but my argument is for the bees. I like bees. But more than bees, I love milk and honey.
I like the honey.
Dude, I love milk. Honey is also...
I heard you drank like a half gallon of whole milk on the Takis podcast.
Yeah. Honey is up there with milk.
It's good.
So a land flowing, that's heaven.
Was it cow's milk, though, or goats? Because back then it was mostly goats, right?
I don't know.
So goats and bees?
Yeah, I don't know. Not in my heaven. My heaven's got cow's milk.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't ever not want milk and honey.
They do
anytime.
go well. I put honey on my cereal.
Yeah, and I'll drink milk with any food. It's so good.
Yeah. Now you made me want milk. Dang it. Is there a milk-flavored Red Bull? I don't know if that would go over well.
Honey Red Bull would be good.
They would probably make it taste more like flowers, like that elderberry one.
That sucked, yeah.
Honey would be good if they could get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Red Bull, write that down.
Honey edition.
Honey flavored.
Would that be spring or summer edition?
You got to come up with a cool name though, like Honey Badger, because honey badgers love honey.
Yeah, but their names aren't like cool. They're just what they are.
They're pretty cool though. Nobody messes with a honey badger.
They're like, I know in like a video game, I'm like, oh, it's like a little skunk or something, and it like just wrecks me. I'm like, what just happened? Why does this skunk have battle armor? What is going on?
Didn't they have them in
In, Red
Assassin's
Dead.
Creed? It was Red Dead.
Red Dead, yeah. Like, bro, this dude's freaking mini rhino. What is happening? Why will this guy die?
They have the thickest skin.
Just wrecks me.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And they have the claws,
Yeah.
and they chase you.
Yes.
Like they don't back down.
They're so annoying.
So, land flowing with milk and honey, the elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. If God knew Pharaoh was going to say no, why would he tell him to go in the first place? Because it says...
I was kind of wondering. I'm like,
And they're not even asking to be released. Like this whole time I'm thinking that
they're
the
groaning.
Israelites are going to be like free of slavery and
They're groaning. They want to be
emancipated
released.
and they can just be free.
Mhm.
It's like they're only asking for 3 days to go out into the desert and pray. And Pharaoh's like, nah, bro. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I'll do it.
Yeah.
So all this just for 3 days? And he wouldn't even let him go for 3 days?
I was kind of wondering, like, is the 3-day trip, like, is that just the trip until you get to the land of milk and honey, this promised land? Or it's just a 3-day trip until, like a pit stop to worship? That's
do you
what I
mean?
when I was reading it.
What do you mean?
So they're promised this, place of milk and honey. I was like, is it just 3 days to get there? Like, that's what I was thinking. Or it's just 3 days and then you just take a pit stop to worship on your way to the land of milk and honey.
Well, they would have to come back. The way this is saying, it's just asking them if they can take a 3-day journey. So maybe it was like a day and a half. No, 1 day to the land of milk and honey. They hang out and party for a day. And then they
Drink
travel
all
they
the
travel
milk
back
and
day
wine.
3.
Yeah, because I was curious. I'm like, wow, 3 days. I was like, if my memory is correct, when they get to the promised land, it took them a little bit longer than 3 days. So I was confused there. But yeah, if they're asking just for like to leave and come back, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like, can we go on a field trip? Can we get an extended weekend where you don't beat us? And Pharaoh's like, no. Then it says, I'll make the Egyptians favorably disposed towards his people so that when you leave, you'll not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver, gold, and clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters, and you will plunder the Egyptians.
What do you think has been going on the past 300 to 400 years between Joseph and Moses?
Was that big of a time difference?
Yeah. Like all his family died. It was like 300 to 400 years.
I mean, it was a stint of time because Joseph and all of his family died.
Yeah, Joseph and all his brothers and all of that generation died. But they were fruitful, multiplied.
Yeah, but it was just
blah.
that generation.
But then they multiply.
it's saying
However
that-
long they multiply to get so great to where now Pharaoh's like, oh, these guys are too much.
That's true.
So it's a long time, like however long. Sometimes I just get stuck on how long certain things take. It's because I'm American.
Timelines,
and I want it now.
yeah, timelines are very difficult to understand in the Bible. Yeah. Because you're reading the chapter and you're thinking like this is all like either the same time period or just after.
Yeah.
And there's a couple hundred years or more
Yeah.
gap that's just not covered.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, so is God speaking with other people? What's going on? That's what I want to keep knowing. Like when we mentioned with like Melchizedek, now we got Jethro. He's a priest. I want to know what kind of priest he is. If he's got any cool stories or anyone that knows him has any cool stories.
Maybe the burning bush was just always there.
For like 300 years.
And there were a whole bunch of people that walked by and just never stopped.
He's like, whoever comes, I'm going to use.
Or they went and then they failed. So this is just because Moses actually like made it the farthest, they document it.
He barely made it the furthest.
Really didn't make it far at all, actually.
Like, I don't know if he made it.
Spoiler alert, Moses angered God.
Yeah. He's not really worthy to be used. It's quite apparent.
Yes,
But,
he should have kept walking, is the bottom line.
but the point is, it's not about him. It's about God.
It's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
And Moses knew Aaron.
Yeah. He had a brother. Is this his big brother or little brother? Do we know? No, he's got to be a small little brother.
Better brother.
Better brother. I like it. Better brother.
So after God tells Moses to go talk to the elders, they're going to go talk to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh's not going to listen, but God's going to intervene, and then he's going to give them favor.
Moses is like, oh, they won't believe me. Oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I suck at talking. Oh, I'm an idiot.
So Moses, in chapter 4, it says, Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you?
And part of me loves like the back and forth questioning and doubt only because it feels real and like human. So I'm like, oh, I can relate to that because we've mentioned before, I have so many doubts all the time.
Yeah.
Quite sad.
What if they don't believe me? Which is
Yeah.
a very reasonable question to ask. Like, okay, I'll go tell them, but what if they tell me I'm full of baloney? This is funny. I got a chuckle out of this. So it says, the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake. And he ran from it. So I could just picture Moses like throwing the staff on the ground. And he's like, oh, and it just takes off running. Oh man, that cracks me up. Because I have a good imagination, I can actually picture it. Like one of his sandals fell off
in the air.
Yeah.
Well, sandals should already be off.
He wasn't still on the holy ground here, was he?
I think this is the same conversation. Yeah. Oh.
See, timelines.
Yeah, depending on the snake, I wouldn't run.
Well, I know I wouldn't run either, but
if it was venomous, I would back up. But if I knew it was like not harmful, I'm like, awesome.
It
awesome,
didn't even say like, and Moses, took a step back. It said Moses ran from it.
Fled or something, yeah.
Then the Lord said to him, "Come back." No, he said, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. Bro, that is
trippy.
That is trippy.
Like, is it instantaneous or like kind of morphs?
I think it like slithered into like something rigid and then just. I picture it like at the tail end, it's hard, and then as it's going up, the snake's like slithering, and it just.
Kinda... Like sometimes like you see in nature like a tree or a rock or something that looks like an animal. Have you seen anything similar to that? Mm-hmm. You think a staff looked like a snake head at the top of it, in the bottom a snake tail? That would be dope. If it like resembled a snake after that, or even before that, just the whole time it resembles a snake.
That would be cool.
That would be dope.
This, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, has appeared to you. So he's saying, you show them this trick, for lack of better terms, they should believe you. But in case they don't, here's another one. Then the Lord said, put your hand inside your cloak. Moses put his hand into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was leprous, like snow. Now put it back in your cloak, he said. So Moses put his hand back in his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, if they do not believe you or pay attention to the first miraculous sign, they may believe the second. But just in case, let's give them a third one.
There's another one.
But if they do not believe these two signs or listen to you, take some water from the Nile, pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground. This is when, I think this is when things became a little overwhelming for Moses. He's seeing all these crazy things happen, right? His staff turned into a snake that he's apparently terrified of. So he's like Indiana Jones. Then his hand turns leprous, like in his pocket. Like, that's got to be trippy.
How did that not freak him out, though? He's just like, okay, no, I'm good now.
Well, you can't run from it. It's like he pulled out his hands and saw it was leprous, and he ran from it. He's nothing, can't run. Unless it falls off, then you can run from it. And God's like, pick up your hand, put it back.
That's where you can put it back in. Put it back in your cloak. Now put your wrist in too.
I'm gonna need you to put the wrist in. I can't do too much here. You gotta work with me.
Like a magician's secret. It's like you gotta under the cloak, right? Not outside the cloak. Put it in.
Yeah. So I think at this point, with these three things, the snake, the leprous hand, and then saying that the water from the Nile is going to turn into blood on the ground, I think Moses just became completely overwhelmed. And then he responds in verse 10, Moses said to the Lord, O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past, nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. So he's trying to disqualify himself and get out of it. Like, I'm not qualified for this again.
Yeah.
So the Lord said to him, and I love this response, who gave man his mouth? Love
Very
it.
Job-like.
Yeah. Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. So you can't come up with an excuse, a physical impairment excuse to not do God's will. Because God's like, bro, I made you.
Well,
There's nothing you lack that I can't help you with.
I guess I'm just going to reiterate the whole time. It's not about him. He's just like, dude, it's not about you. Get over yourself.
I think he was overwhelmed.
Yeah. Because, after all that, he says, just please someone else. Just send someone else, please. He has nothing else
Yeah.
to say. Doesn't say okay. Just to be, please, just someone
Yeah,
else.
so
please.
God shuts down his excuse. Oh, I'm not a very good speaker. I'll tell you what to say. I created your mouth. And then he's like,
Nah, someone else.
oh no. French fried onion on the Bible. Join the jalapeno.
I've been like very deliberate, like to try and change my hand because I'm like, oh, this is like my legit personal
I know,
Bible I
I'm
brought
all over
today. I was like, I definitely can't do it with this one.
I'm getting to the point now where I'm using food as bookmark.
And like you need to highlight or underline something, just use the grease.
It's like, yeah, oh, Jonah? Yeah, I just need to find that piece of scallop that fell in my Bible during that seafood pizza episode. And oh, yeah, there's a jalapeno here for,
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, I got eggs and steak in my Bible for Samson, so that's Judges. So, I mean, I know where the chapters are based on
Yeah.
the food particles that are in there.
It's funny.
So it's a good way to remember it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Moses says to the Lord, Moses said, "Oh Lord, please send someone else to do it." So now he's just flat out telling God no, like
Yeah,
Jonah.
basically.
Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He's already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform miraculous signs with it."
So is that his anger's burning, but is his response in anger, or is it kind of nice, like compassionate, like, oh, let me give you a buddy? Or is it like, no, you're doing this with your brother?
I think he's frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, but he just happens to know Aaron is a good speaker, and he happens to be on his way to see him.
God happens to know.
So I think he's frustrated with him, but he's like, all right, look, I don't have time for this. There's already a guy on the way.
Yeah.
I already told him to get over here. He's already on his way.
Yeah, I think it's more, hey, this is my plan. I'm choosing you. All right. You'll have a helper, but you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
I forgot to ask this, but with the snake and the leprous hand and the blood on the ground as like the signs to prove that God sent him, out of all of the miraculous things God could show or do, why would he pick those three?
Yeah, the snake, I don't know.
The snake's pretty cool, but it's
It
kind of
is.
like a parlor trick. And they even say in other areas of the Bible that the wizards and magicians could do the same, which is pretty insane. He left room for them to still not believe it. Like, why wouldn't he just hit them with like the first thing? Guaranteed they cannot doubt. Instead, he's like, oh, try this. And then if that doesn't work, try this. And then if that doesn't work, try this. Like, why don't... You can do anything.
Yeah.
Just hit him with the good stuff right away. Shut it down. Like, why go through all the...
Yeah, so I personally don't remember every detail of what comes later on that we'll read, but I know there's the plagues. And so to me, I'm like, is the hand and the I know one of the plagues is like the Nile is blood, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is it just like that's the sign, the plagues end up being the sign to make them believe? Or is this different?
That it might tie in.
I don't know.
Because they obviously didn't believe the first two anyway. Right? That would stink because Moses throws down his staff, turns into a snake. He picks it up, and then everyone's like, we've seen it before.
Seen it.
Now Moses is like, crap, I got to make my hand leprous again.
But at least he knows he can make it go back.
Yeah, but imagine, now you know what's going to happen and you're doing this to yourself. So you're like, no, I'm going to put my hand in my cloak.
Does it hurt or does it just look nice? Yeah.
I wonder if he made it like a horror show. Like he was like, psych, check this out. Boom. Oh, look at that.
I could see that.
Like,
That'd be funny.
how much of
And
a...
how old is he? Is he like one of those like old men that likes to tell stories? I don't think so. If he's bad at talking.
Moses is pretty old.
If he's bad at talking, I don't think so. I don't think he's old right now. I don't know his age, but I don't think he's like old right now.
I think he was away from Egypt for 30 or 40 years. He's definitely in his 40s or higher.
Definitely.
Potentially, definitely. There's definite potential.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's cool too. Like you kept mentioning the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Because I'm like, oh, is this like? So if he's to tell these people, they know of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and like we know and we're taught like it's like spoken orally. I'm like, how do you get that many people to know who these people are without writing it down?
Word of mouth.
Yeah, but like that's a little wild to me.
They had messengers.
Yeah, some of it could be written down, right? Already, I don't know. It was just a fun thought. I'm like, if he's like, oh, you're Abraham, Isaac, but like, so these people are like, oh yeah,
it's
I
written
know.
down because Joseph and that whole generation, Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Joseph, and all the kids are dead. So they're like basically living their legacy now. Everyone has had a lot of time to spread the word and talk about them, and because this is
So are they assembling? Like
Long
they're
past.
meeting and all talking about it?
not necessarily formally assembling, but just
There's a
just
lot of
word mouth.
details. There's a lot of details to remember and pass along.
I think their books were already written though.
I just think I just found that interesting.
God tells Moses, we're going to use Aaron to speak to everybody. You're going to give him the information, and he'll do the talking. So then in verse 18, Moses went back to Jethro, the father-in-law, and said, let me go back to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive. Why wouldn't he tell him everything that just happened?
Tell Jethro the priest. Yeah.
He didn't tell the priest that, hey, I just saw God. God told me to do all this. Why?
That's a good question.
Why wouldn't he tell him? Like, out of all the people that would believe him, a priest would.
Yeah.
Or you would think, maybe not. Because then maybe the priest would have been like, who are you? You're not a holy man.
I think it has to do with Moses here. I don't think it has to do with Jethro. I think it's probably Moses could definitely have ulterior motive here. You can just be like, hey, I'm going to tell Jethro I'm out of here. I'm going to figure something else out, and I really don't want to do what God's telling me to do. So he's just going to get away from Jethro first and then figure something else out. I don't know.
Well, Jethro said, go, I wish you well.
Because we're coming up soon to God getting mad at him again. And I don't know the exact reason why.
I do. I'll get there.
Like, it's like I have kind of an understanding, but to the extent that it is.
We're going to get to it.
Because, okay, so when we get there, I'll just preface when I got there. Earlier, I just said I liked how there was the back and forth and the questioning and like, oh, like that's so human and I can relate to that. Now I'm like a little more scared. Like, oh, let me just take a step back. I'm sorry. Let me not tell.
Why
Let me
did
not
the Lord
question.
just want to kill him all of a sudden?
Yeah. I won't ask any more questions.
Yeah. I'll just listen over here
sorry,
quietly.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
I'll get to that. Jethro tells him, well, I wish you well. Then the Lord told Moses, go back to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons. So he had
At least
multiple
Yeah.
boys.
At least 2.
Put them on a donkey and started back to Egypt.
Does he have any daughters? They just don't record it.
Yeah,
They don't matter.
not then.
I have to work on another child that matters.
And he took the staff of God in his hand.
Because I'm having a daughter.
Yeah, we're not going to record it. Talk to me when you have a son.
When you have meaning. Come back when you have meaning again. A reason to live on.
Call me when your lineage can still be continued. Your family name won't die out.
Oh, she'll keep my name.
I don't think it works like that. Do you think anybody in the Bible did that? Like the women kept their own name?
I don't know. If they tried, they probably died.
They're like, well, what if we just put a hyphen?
Oh gosh, that's so I don't even want to think about that. It's so sad.
And they're like, well, what if we just kill you?
Yeah.
I know. It is sad.
It's so sad.
Good things, times have changed.
Yeah.
It says he took the staff that God gave him. Knowing that that staff was given by God specifically to do miraculous signs and have power, like, what do you think a good name for it would be? If you were in a video game
I'll
and
name the staff.
I mean, they call it the Staff of God, which is a pretty sweet name.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you were... Like, I'm thinking of, like, Elden Ring and stuff like that, where you have
Yeah.
different staffs. Like, what would be
And
a
like
cool...
Thor's hammer has a name, Mjolnir.
Mjolnir, yeah. So it would
Like,
be
so
a
it has
cool
a
name for a
name.
staff that God forged. Maybe the God Forge. That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, but Forge is like metal. This is
God
freaking-
whittled. God carved? God... It doesn't sound as cool. Yeah.
No.
The snake rod?
Staff of God's the best.
It really is. It sounds pretty...
Staff
That's
of
pretty
God.
good.
No.
You can't really beat it,
That's-
really.
yeah.
Yeah. The Lord said to Moses, when you return to Egypt, see you perform to Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted him to go and show him the snake trick and the leper's hand. But here, this is where I'm struggling. But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go.
Yeah.
Why would you tell Moses to go and do all this stuff? Tell Pharaoh to let the people go.
You're
and then
gonna question
intentionally-
God now after.
And then intentionally harden his heart so that he won't do it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not gonna question it because I'm terrified. Dude, yeah, it's interesting.
It seems like a game.
Yeah.
Like God's toying with Pharaoh, and I don't get it. Then say to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord says. Israel is my firstborn son, and I told you, let my son go so he may worship me. But you refused to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son.
Like, it's got to be some ulterior motive from God to do this with Pharaoh to show Pharaoh is not God or a God. Because I'm pretty sure they believe Pharaoh is a God. And so it's got to be something along those lines to humble Pharaoh, humble other Egyptians, and make them see Pharaoh is not a God also. Something like that.
There has to be something. Because
Yeah. Something like that.
Well, there's always an ulterior motive. Like, if I could understand God's plan, then it wouldn't be much of a God.
Why?
Because his ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts.
I agree. But
So
if
if I
he
could
gives
understand
you the
it, if
understanding,
he gives you the revelation, yeah, sure.
it doesn't make him less.
Doesn't make him less. But if I could just automatically understand everything God is doing, then
It's not making him less still, but
it's
yeah.
it's the conception. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. So if you look at the subtext, it's
So
actually
your wording is fine. This wording is on the trip at an overnight campsite. It happened that the Lord confronted him and sought to put him to death. So it was like Lord is
wow, yours is like
coming after
at a
him.
campsite while they were eating s'mores, roasting
Like,
marshmallows.
The Lord confronted him. Like he's like, "Hey, you," and sought to kill him.
Well, it wasn't actually Moses. It's Moses' son. And the Lord was going to kill him because he was uncircumcised.
Him is the son.
Yes. If you look at do you have a footnote on this one? Because I actually looked at the footnote on mine.
No, I don't.
Mine has a footnote and it says, Moses' son. Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched his feet with it. Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me, she said. So the Lord let him alone. So God was going to kill Moses'
Why
son.
would he be the son when it doesn't mention that?
God was going to kill his son because he wasn't circumcised, and Zipporah grabbed a flint knife, and
So I thought he was coming after Moses because of the son.
no, God. Why would God kill Moses?
But why would him?
He's going through all this trouble to use him to do this
But
stuff
why would him be the son when he's not mentioned?
because the sons don't have names. Remember? There's
Yeah,
just-
but so then you would say
son.
his son.
it does
The only
in the footnote.
in your footnote. Footnotes don't mean it is what it is.
oh,
It's
now you don't like the footnotes.
no, I like footnotes. Footnotes mean hey, it could be this. I don't know.
Mine-
Just grammatically. So yours is NIV. The Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. in that sentence, him is Moses, grammatically.
Moses is Moses' son. Maybe it was Moses Jr.
No, because it names his sons or later on. It's Gershom, right? And Eleazar, I believe.
But Moses was already circumcised, remember?
It's got to be Moses. Like, it doesn't make, just grammatically, it doesn't make sense.
It would make no sense for God to kill Moses.
It would, because he's questioning, and if he didn't do the circumcision, he's in charge. Like, he's
But God
over
would have
that.
already known that at the beginning. It wouldn't be like at a campsite. It's not like the
They
kid.
could have just had
It's
the
not like
kid.
the kid went to take a leak and God happened to accidentally see it, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute."
They could have had the kid during all this. Like, in the midst of all this. Because this is on the
No.
trip. This is on the trip. Like, in between, things already happening. She could have been 8 months pregnant when he saw the bush. 8.5 months when he's on the way. And
No.
I'm going through other. So I'm going through, like, there's like a Message Amplified, King James. I'm trying to read grammatically about this hymn. It just doesn't make sense on any of them. It doesn't make sense that
Well-
it would be the son.
For the sake of simplicity,
So Amplified, and again, this is similar to like footnotes, is what they put this little bracket in there. Doesn't mean it's true. Amplified says, "Now it happened at the lodging place that the Lord met Moses and sought to kill him, making him deathly ill because he had not circumcised one of his sons." And it references Genesis 17.
so you think Moses had another son during the trip and he didn't circumcise it?
Maybe. Like, it was like getting past his time.
Well, it would have to be, because otherwise God would have already known that Moses didn't circumcise his son. Like back at the burning bush phase.
If any male is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that man will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
Yeah. Okay, but what I'm saying...
So that would mean the uncircumcised man would be cut off, being the son.
Okay, I can see that. So
So that argument actually helps your argument of him being the son.
well, the son wasn't circumcised. So if God was going to kill Moses for not circumcising his son, then to your point, that son would have had to been born during the trip. Because if the kid was already born, then God would have already known he wasn't circumcised back at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Zipporah goes and circumcises him, however old he is,
and then for some strange reason touches his foot with it.
potentially. Let me
Not
read
potentially.
You, let me read
it says.
you. Yeah. But let me read you a footnote. That could
Is that a
also
pun?
be another meaning.
Is that a pun?
And I'll read it. I think it's the Message version of this same verse.
Not
So
a
the
big fan of the message.
So the footnote, some interpret feet as a euphemism for genitals.
Those are two very different things.
I agree.
Maybe if you get kicked in the genitals.
So,
Foot meet genital.
which one would you rather? Your wife come in and
Touch my foot or kick me in the genitals?
with some...
I don't want my knife going anywhere near me with a flint knife, bro.
It's not the flint knife. It's the
I know
skin.
but she took the flint knife. I wouldn't even let her get to that point.
It's got to be done. It's part of the covenant.
Cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it.
So do you think it was touched? Holman Christian says, and threw it at Moses' feet. So it says it threw it at his feet. It also says that feet could be genitals.
It's very much like
your
Abraham
Abraham story.
Ugh. Fine, Lord. You see that? He's circumcised. Moses?
No, is she upset? It's not toward the Lord.
She's probably upset at Moses.
Yeah.
She probably threw it at her son. Just like,
Then she
Freaking
said,
Moses.
"You are a bridegroom of blood to me." Is that what yours says too? What NIV says? Something similar. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What is like?
It sounds
You're a bridegroom
bridegroom of blood. It sounds like a...
to me. Like with the context, it sounds bad. But is it? Maybe it's.
Oh, mine has parentheses. At that time, she said bridegroom of blood, referring to circumcision.
Mm-hmm.
So she just meant I circumcised him.
It's just weird.
It
You're
is.
a bridegroom of blood.
It is. But it's funny, like, she was so mad at Moses, she cut his foreskin off and
Oh yeah, let me read the Message version.
then threw it.
On the journey back, as they camped for the night, God met Moses and would have killed him, but Zipporah took a flint knife and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' member with it. She said, "Oh, you're a bridegroom of blood to me," and God let him go.
Member?
Yeah.
It says member?
It says member.
Gosh, I haven't heard that term in a long time. Member. Wow.
How many members are in the church? I'm just curious. No, not that member. I'm just...
I don't know, bro. You'd have to take a poll. Wait, no, that's a wrong term. You'd have to take a survey. In our church?
Yeah.
Like total? The way you asked
That's
it
just
now,
what
I can't get it out of my head now.
Well, you said you haven't heard that term in a long time, and I'm like, when do I hear that term? Like, oh, a member of the church or a member of something. So it just came out. It just came out. How many members are in the church?
I'm like, I don't know, dude. There's a lot of guys. Not including women and children.
Next time you're going to be in church, you're going to be like, all right, we have 115 members
There's
today.
700 people, but 410 members.
It's really, there's not 700 people.
In both services, I think so.
Oh, both. Really?
I think so, yeah. You haven't been there in a long time, bro.
Yeah,
We're
but
growing.
Yeah, but I've been in there with it packed in there, and I'm like, it's hard to like put a number on a group of people though.
It is.
Like that full room, I could be like, oh, it's like 100 people, but if I actually sat down and count,
That full room would hold like 800.
because like a whole section might be like 100 or more.
It's more than that.
Yeah. How many is a row? Like 12?
More than that. The middle can hold like,
Well, in the middle, like 2, and you're like
20.
4.
I don't know. I was only there this morning. I can't remember.
It could have changed since I've been there too. The layout.
So Zipporah saved Moses' life.
It's probably like 250 members sometimes.
No, there's more than that. 100%.
At a time. I'm just talking at a time.
There's more than that.
Sometimes there's more. Like
There's more
Easter,
than
there's more members.
There's more than that. We had like 40-something youth, like kids.
Oh, you're talking about the other member. I'm talking about members of the church. Because not everyone that goes to church is a member of the church.
Oh, you're talking about the difference between members and attendees? God, you're confusing me.
I'm playing off of the word member. And I'm pretending you're saying...
Don't play with member, bro.
I'm pretending that you're using member like the message. And there's that many
We're
members.
saying member way too many times now.
And there's that many members in the church. But I'm twisting it and saying, oh, but there's only less than that because not everyone is a member. But I'm like, oh, you're talking about those members. I got you. And then when you have, was it here? Is it Heroes? Men's Hero? What's the Heroes? What's the men's group?
Heroes.
So it's like all members. It's just the members.
It's a members club.
Yeah. Oh, that's so stupid.
Yep.
Gosh,
Yeah, you are. All right, well, so Zipporah cut off her son's foreskin, threw it at his feet, told Moses he was a chump. So the Lord let him off the hook. Then the Lord said to Aaron, go into the desert to meet Moses. So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him in a biblical way.
Yeah.
That's not to be taken out of context.
Nothing wrong with kissing your bro.
No, like the side cheek kind of deal.
Yeah, if you're a pansy. Sure.
He didn't kiss him on the lips.
Why not? It could be different back then.
No, I think cheek. I think back then it was like a greeting. Like when Judas kissed Jesus, it wasn't on the lips.
Maybe.
No, not maybe.
It doesn't say that.
It was on the cheek.
Maybe. Yeah.
Not maybe. What?
Maybe.
You think everyone just walked around kissing each other on the lips? Dudes?
It could have. It could have been different back then.
No.
It definitely could have been different
No.
back then.
No.
I'm not saying they did, but
They didn't.
all right.
Don't ruin the Bible for me.
Too many kissing, too many members. I can't
There's
read
a lot
this.
of, yeah. So Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say and also about the miraculous signs he commanded him to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites. So just like God told them to do. Before Aaron joined the team, they performed all the signs before those people, and then they believed. So at least the elders didn't have to get past that point.
Yeah.
And then when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. And that is where we're going to pause until the next one.
So we got Nova with her pre-rating. Is her rating tie into our rating?
She gave it a 10.
Weighted rating.
In her defense, she smelled it from her bed upstairs with a closed door.
But also, devil's advocate, she's a kid and she just wants to come down here and see what's going on.
No, she loves the pizza.
And she saw me before we started, and so she was awake.
Yeah, so she didn't even have an excuse to come say hi to you. It was...
She just didn't want to get to bed.
When she's at the top of the stairs saying, that pizza smells so good, Daddy. I'm like...
She's got you tricked.
All right, if you hurry up, I'll give you a bite.
Yeah, she's got you tricked.
I don't mind sharing pizza with her.
That's great, yeah. Yeah, I'll say... I think it is just calculating. I'm gonna say 8.4.
I was gonna go 8.8.
Okay.
8.6.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. What do you like? What you don't like?
I like it all. Like 1 or 2 more mushrooms and meat. That's it. I know. I'm sorry. I know. I'm
meat
sorry.
On a pizza that doesn't have meat on it.
I'm sorry. I understand. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, the mushrooms, I agree.
And maybe queso.
If you want me to do a Mexican pizza, I will make a Mexican pizza, but I'm not putting queso on my mushroom Swiss pizza.
And that's fine. It's totally good pizza.
Queso. I'll make a Mexican pizza.
if you want to cheat the system, every pizza you make, just dump some queso on there and a little bit extra meat.
I'm gonna have one square, like
They're all
loaded
tens.
with meat and queso.
You just have a steak and queso, and then you just pretend crust around it. Here's your freaking pizza.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just have a freaking crust, and I'm gonna say, build your own, and you better rate it a 10, because if you can't even make your own a 10, then you can't blame me for not getting you there.
If I'm gonna rate,
You're never happy, Johnny.
I am happy.
No.
Over 8 is happy. Over 8 is happy.
No, I'm trying to get you to a 10. I haven't gotten you there yet.
You'll get there one day.
I don't know.
The fig was close.
That was pretty.
Was
close.
that our best one, or
No,
was
the seafood.
The seafood was better.
The seafood was like a 9.8, and the fig was 9.7.
Oh, dude, can you imagine that seafood pizza with queso?
I'd rather not. That sounds disgusting. What is you?
I'm sorry.
Since when do you like queso? I've never.
What
heard
question
you,
is that?
I've never heard you once.
Is that not
all of the
instilled
years
in
I've
all of
known
us?
you. In all of the years, you've never once mentioned anything about queso.
Interesting.
When we go out to eat, you never mention, "Hey, let's
We've
go."
never gone to a Mexican place.
Exactly.
We
If you
always
like
go to
queso so
McDonald's.
much, you do.
This double quarter pounder needs some queso. Dude, that would be good.
We've gone to Taco Bell and you never got queso.
They don't have queso. They have like nacho cheese.
Taco Bell doesn't have queso?
I don't think so.
Ah, man.
Yeah, they're not Mexican either. They're 100% American.
Taco Bell?
Mm-hmm.
Taco
Nothing
Bell
about Taco Bell is Mexican.
Taco Bell is authentic.
Authentic American.
American Mexican.
They want to be Mexican,
See, if
maybe?
you combined American and Mexican, it's still American.
A Mexican.
See? American. I'm Mexican.
A Mexican. Taco Bell is a Mexican.
All right, so we're at an 8.6 for the mushroom Swiss. Still a really good pizza.
Yeah.
All right.
Try
Well,
me.
thanks for joining us. Podcast over. So be like, oh yeah, if I was gonna have any one of these plagues, definitely just give me that one.
Which one kills me the quickest?
That's what you want? Your goal is to just
We'll get into it later.
I don't know.
savage.